Okay. So suppose what we discuss is let K be an imaginary quadratic field. Okay, let's keep an example in mind. Let's say K is this, okay? And let OK be its ring of integers. What it means is that all the elements in K which are roots of monic polynomials with integral coefficients, okay? For example, in this, what will be OK? It will be the ring of Gaussian integers, okay? Like these are like A plus IB, where A and B are integers, okay? Whereas this field is like alpha plus I beta, where alpha and beta are in Q, okay? And suppose E over K is an elliptic curve with complex multiplication by OK. For example, take y square equal to x cube minus n square x, where I also x, like as we saw yesterday. Okay. And then what is Kurzweil's theorem? The statement of the theorem is that Ek is infinite implies L function at 1 is 0. In other words, if we have rank is positive, then order of vanishing of the L function is also positive. So it's like a weak form of BSD conjecture. Okay. For example, let's take a curve, like you know that 5 is a congruent number. So like if we take this curve E5, then we know that, okay, so minus 4 and 6, is it right? Okay, so I wanted to show demonstrate some points. So is it like, so you just have to check whether it is satisfying. 100 minus, okay, maybe it is minus 6 is needed. It's like minus 64 plus 100. Okay, so minus 4, 6, for example. And this is a point of infinite order because y coordinate is non-zero. Okay, so since 6 is not 0, this is a point of infinite order. Okay, in other words, this curve which has complex multiplication by this, and this is a point of infinite order, in fact, this over Q itself, then, so Kurzweil's theorem will tell that its L function should vanish. Okay, this is what this theorem is saying. Okay, so now let's first outline the strategy of the proof as we discussed yesterday. So let's keep a big picture in mind. So for the strategy, okay, so suppose we have a point of infinite order. What can we do with this? If we have this, then this actually allows us to construct a Galois extension, okay? So, and this construction uses, I will describe, Lubin-Tate formal groups. So it needs Lubin-Tate theory and Kumar theory. Okay. With this, what we can do is we can construct a suitable Galois extension, suitable Galois extension of over Fl. Okay. So since these fields will keep appearing, so let me again write these fields like we have K. Then we have the field given by P torsion points. What is P? P is a split prime. Split prime and good reduction. And also we need something which is called non-anomalous. Okay. So that arithmetic is simpler in the local field. Okay. So, and if P, and then the prime above P is P naught, and this group is Z naught, and I mean this I'm also calling F naught, and what is Fn is like K, E, you attach all these P n plus 1 torsion points, okay? And of course you have the local versions also, like I complete that Pn is prime above P naught or P, and then I have phi naught here, and I have Kp here, okay? This is like totally ramified extension. Okay, what split prime means, for example, if I have Q, like 5 is split because 5z is 2 plus I, 2 minus I, okay? What is non-split? I also mentioned yesterday, like if I have 2z, it will be like 1 plus I, 1 minus I, so 1 plus I whole square, okay? So this is like ramified. This is like, yeah, they differ, do not differ by a unit. So it's like a split prime, but this is a ramified prime. And some prime remain, I mean, like if I have 3, it will remain actually a prime, okay? In fact, all primes which are congruent to 1 mod 5, 1 mod 4, they'll be like split primes. Okay, it actually is related to like sum of 2 squares, which primes are sum of 2 squares, because it'll come from, if we have something like this, then we'll have a square plus b square equal to 5, or any prime congruent to 1 mod 4 that splits. Anyway, so that is beside the point, but we'll be able to, okay, so, and also I introduced these notions, like what is UN? It is units congruent to 1 mod Pn, and of, okay, I'll put the dash. If I put the dash, then it is of norm 1 to Kp, okay? And if I take the bigger group, it's like UN, all units congruent to 1 mod Pn, okay? And similarly, I'll have U naught and U naught dash. When I put dash, it's like norm 1 to the base field, okay? So now, suppose we have this. Also, globally, let's take these with the global units, okay? All the units in Fn, okay? And Cn, this elliptic units, which I have not defined yet, I will define in the second half of the. So far, so what I have not defined, I'm putting it in like this. Okay, so this is, yeah. So now once we have this construction, by the way, it will be eventually given by, like I can say that this extension basically is of this form, Fn, I can say pi n plus 1 inverse P. Inverse meaning inverse images, okay? So it's like all the points, when I multiply by pi n plus 1, I should get Q. What is pi? Pi is like a generator of P, okay? It's like if I evaluate the Gaussian character, it's like the Frobenius on the recessive field, okay? And it's like, for the time being, you can take it as a generator of P, okay? So pi is a generator of P, because it's a PID, okay? Because we also discussed yesterday that if we have elliptic curve over K with Cm by OK, then this is actually class number 1. So every idealist principle, and this is a generator of this. So we can construct this Galois extension, and it is basically through Lubin-Tate theory, because we show that we get a non-trivial, this extension is non-trivial, okay? Important thing is that it is non-trivial, and it is coming from the fact that it is infinite order. Because it is infinite order, that's why this construction is non-trivial, okay? Now, this actually by class field theory can be related to, okay, because this is class field theory. Because there's a nice correspondence between abelian extensions of Fn and ideals of Fn, but then when you have unramified extensions, only the, so to speak, the local units at the ramified primes contribute, and so it basically boils down to that. And so we have this, in fact, its one component is non-zero, because when we do this construction, which I outlined yesterday also, that Galois group has a non-trivial one part, okay? This is like the eigenspace decomposition, okay? So what is that one? Because you know that any module, Z0 module, if any module I have, I can write it as direct sum xk, k going from 1 to p minus 1. Okay? So any GP Z0 module, I can write it as like this. Okay? So this should be, that is like class field theory. But now, this will imply that elliptic units will be just a, elliptic units are contained in the global units. So this is actually bigger than that. Okay? So if this is non-zero, this will also be non-zero. And by Iwasawa theory, this is because we can identify this with Iwasawa coinvariance at the nth level, and this is at the 0th level. Okay. This should be non-zero. Okay. So this is the part. So far we are here. Now finally, the final piece is that, and this is what I will discuss today, that this part is like this theorem that we will discuss today, that this happens if and only if this omega minus 1 L, this is 0 mod P. Okay? And since there are infinitely many such prime ideals which are split, non-anomalous, and okay, split and non-anomalous is enough, and prime to 6 or something is needed, but anyway, infinitely many of them are there, so we'll know this. And why? Because this L function is a product of this and that. Okay. As I showed yesterday, this comes from the fact that the number of points on the residue field is like the degree of the Frobenius, degree of the 1 minus Frobenius. It's a fixed point of the Frobenius. So how do you calculate the fixed point of the Frobenius? It is like the number of elements in the kernel of 1 minus the Frobenius. And 1 minus Frobenius is like the norm of the 1 minus Frobenius element. And that's where you get like 1 minus pi kind of thing, and that's how you get this decomposition. Okay. So today, what we want to do is basically discuss this part, that how, because the other part, through Galois construction, etc., we basically need only in this direction. Then suppose this is non-zero, so what is needed for Kurzweils is in this direction. So this is what we need. Okay. So in order to do that, what we have to do, first look at.
When you are considering that any such period depends on that pi depends on p.
That pi depends on, yeah.
So any non-anomalous p will do.
Yeah, any non-anomalous prime will do. And if 2 is ramified, there is no anomalous prime. Okay, if 2 is ramified in the extension or inert, then there is some result like that. Okay, so which fall into that case. But in otherwise also, what we need is a trace of the Frobenius should not be 1. That's all that is needed for no. Okay, so first let's look at this object U naught k or U naught dash k. Okay, so let's see what we know about U naught, the group of units. Okay, or what is U naught dash? It is like the kernel of the norm map. Okay, so you have the norm map from phi naught to kp, and you have an exact sequence like this. Okay, because this is precisely the kernel of this norm map, and this surjective, it can be seen from local class field theory also. Okay, so and if I take the components, if I take the k component, I will get this for the non-trivial characters. So I'll get it up to p minus 2. Okay, because when I take the 0th component, this will also be there. Okay? Or p minus 1. So this is there. And so what is the, if p is non-anomalous, this one can show easily that this, what it means is that U naught has no p torsion. Or, okay, no p's root of unity. So what happens is that this becomes, so this is now, so as a result, it is a free GP module of rank 1. Okay, because there is no torsion. So it's a, and Okay, so this is of rank p minus 1, this is of p minus 2, and each eigenspace is like one dimensional. Okay. Okay, so we know something about this u naught k. So let's see how we can. Okay, so I hope all of you have read this, right? Okay, so I'll erase part of it. Okay, so let's see what we need. Actually, what we need is u naught dash k modulo c naught c bar k. I have not yet defined c naught. Okay, I'll do that soon. But let's see what we need first. That we clearly have this exact sequence. Okay, we clearly have this exact sequence, and from this I can take the pth powers I'll take the pth power, and I'll take the pth powers. Okay, so we have this. But we already know something about this. What do I know? Because I know that this is free GP of rank 1. So this is actually an FP vector space of dimension 1. Okay. Because this is free GP module of rank 1. So we don't know about its quotient very well. Now, what do I want to relate? I want to say that this is non-zero. Okay, this is non-zero is now equivalent to, this will be equivalent to saying that any elliptic unit should be a pth power. So that, because if this is non-zero, then since it is one dimensional, its image there should be 0. In other words, every elliptic unit should be a pth power in this. No, C0 is elliptic units, which I have not yet defined. I will define. So this is like the box that I have not defined yet. Okay. So far I have used only this fact that these elliptic units are contained in the global units. Elliptic units are global units. Okay. And since this is something one dimensional, if this is to be non-zero, then this image should be 0. So it means that every elliptic unit in C naught k is a pth power in U naught dash k. Okay. So if this is to be non-zero, all elliptic units so actually go to this. Okay. So now what do we want? So what quotient was, so we need a mechanism to detect the pth powers in U naught dash k. So we have to identify which elements are pth powers. Okay, so let's see. So what do we can do? So what we need? Okay, that we need to devise a mechanism to detect pth powers in E naught dash k. Okay, so what is that mechanism? That basically it will be a homomorphism. So what we need, a homomorphism, we'll call it phi k, which will go from U naught. We can define it for the whole units, and it will go to OP mod P. Okay, what is OP? It's the local ring at P. Okay. And how? That what should it satisfy? That phi k of some unit is 0 if and only if alpha is a pth power. Okay, and secondly, more importantly, phi k of elliptic unit should be expressible in terms of the L values. It will be like omega minus k L phi work this times some p unit. It will be some factor. Okay, so this will certainly serve the purpose because we need to find a homomorphism from U0 to this such that it is, if it is 0, if and only if it is a pth power, the unit is a pth power. Sorry, k. K is like from 1 to p minus 2. Okay, so it's like this item, I mean, here, sorry. So rather than writing 0, I'm basically trivial character is like p minus 1. So it is those eigenspaces. Okay. So this is the homomorphism that we need. It is Kurzweil's homomorphism, and it is very useful in several contexts. I think even in Bloch-Cardo's paper, Kurzweil's homomorphism is there. But we need it at the 0th level. Okay, so let's first see how to define this homomorphism. Okay, so I don't need this now because. So also, first let's see at where do I have these units? There, the units in this, and what is this field? It is Kp, and you attach these pi torsions. Okay, this is the field. But to have good generators of this unit, what we have to do? First, we have to use. Let's first see that we know this reduction, right? Like E Kp. Then you have this points about a residue field and the formal group part. Okay, I'll come to this later. So you have some formal group. I mean, okay, first of all, probably I should write like this, E1 Kp. But actually, later on I'll also, say that this is actually coming from because next topic is like formal groups. Okay, so I'll soon talk about formal groups. So that these points come from a formal group associated with elliptic curve, okay? And all this pi torsion actually comes from here because whatever pi torsion is there, since pi is like an automorphism there, pi torsion belongs there. So to speak, I can also say that this is actually E hat pi, okay? Because pi torsion points on E, actually they will not be in the residue field part, but it will be in the formal group part. Because on the residue field, pi is like the Frobenius, which doesn't have torsion. It's like an automorphism. So, but this is not a good group to work with. So what Kurzweil will do, okay, so replace this by a simpler group. Replace this formal group by an isomorphic and simpler group. Simpler in what sense? Simpler group. So keeping this notation, using the same notation as Kurzweil's, we can write like this. So let's see what is that group. Okay. So for that, we have to first discuss Lubin-Tate groups, because this group actually with the elliptic curve. No, okay. So to define it, we can actually define it from U0 itself. Because on the other components, it will be 0. Only the kth component, when it is like I'm mapping from kth component, it will become 0. It will be non-trivial. If I have the z component, it will be 0. If it is 0, then it is pth power. Pth power. Okay, so when I define this homomorphism, I did not stick to this. Okay.
And then you want to relate it to the
Yeah, because then the way we construct the elliptic units and the way we define these maps, that when I do this, evaluate it at the elliptic unit, actually it will involve L values. Although I need it only for k equal to 1, but this part can be done generally. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so for that, so to do that, we need to introduce formal groups, first formal groups. Okay, so maybe I'll refer to Lang's book on cyclotonic fields. Okay. So what are formal groups? So a formal group F is given by a power series okay, so I'm working with OP. Okay, formal group F over OP, I'd say. Okay, is given by Fxy. It's a power series ring. I mean, it's in the power series, satisfying certain properties. Okay, that this power series should start like x plus y, and then plus higher order times or mod degree 2. Okay, so this elliptic curve, this formal group associated with elliptic curve also satisfies these properties. Okay, so these some requirements are there. This is like an associativity we need, so that can be expressed like this. Okay, and that f of y is f of yx, so it's commutative. Okay, then with these three properties are sufficient. Okay, these three properties are sufficient to say that every x will have there'll be an inverse also. Okay, so this will guarantee that this is a group law. So this guarantees that there'll be some lambda x, or maybe ix, I should say, fx ix will be 0. Okay, which will start like minus x, and there'll be some other terms. Okay, so that this the inverse will be there also. Okay, and in this construction we need this completion of this. Okay, so when we construct it degree by degree. Okay, so let me give some examples of formal groups, because some of the groups that we keep working with, we can also put them in this language. Like for example, the additive group. I think Sujata also mentioned this. So what is GAXY? We just take x plus y. Okay, so this itself is like the formal additive group. Okay, or this multiplicative group. In the formal setting, we write it like x plus y plus xy. It's like 1 plus x, 1 plus y minus 1. Okay, so and then also if I have two formal groups, so what is homomorphism between two formal groups? This is what is to be expected. What is homomorphism between formal groups F and Z? Okay, so it will be a map. So it will be a power series. It will be a power series such that whether I apply it first and apply this power series, or I do, sorry, this should be Z, and it should be like, okay. So in other words, it commutes with the group laws. Okay, a map, or it's a power series, so that whether you map by F first and then you take the sum with this group law, or you take the image first and then you apply the second law. So it's like, it's a homomorphism. And what is an endomorphism? Because if F is equal to Z, then F is like an endomorphism. Okay? Sorry? F, okay, sorry, what do I want? Yes, that's right, sorry. I want this F outside, yes. X plus something, right? It's like yeah, zero constant term. It starts like x plus something. Okay, and another thing to note is that, okay, so this is like all symbolically done, but one thing to observe is that if x and y belongs to the maximal ideal, then fxy will converge, because it's a power series. So in general, if I have units, I cannot say that this will converge, but if I have there, because I will be taking higher and higher powers of x and y, So in p-adic topology, it will converge. So that's why actually I need it's best to work with a complete ring, okay, which is complete. So this is converges in, and it will be in P, okay, because, okay. So this is like, roughly speaking, this is what formal group is. It's given by a power series in two variables, satisfying certain properties. And some of the groups that we see usually, it's like formal additive group or formal multiplicative group. They are actually can be thought of as formal groups. And then we can talk about homomorphisms, okay, or endomorphisms, okay. Now let's see what is Lubin-Tate formal group. Okay, so to define Lubin-Tate formal groups, okay, so fix a parameter pi, okay, so fix pi. I'll fix it in a way that it should be a parameter at P, meaning it's a generator in the local ring for P. Although for us, it will be, I can take the same pi that I defined earlier, that is Crossen correct. Okay, so what is F pi? It consists of all power series Fx such that, or maybe I should say Zx or something, such that, okay, Zx is like pi x mod degree 2, okay, and it is x to the power, I'll say p because I'm taking prime ideal split prime, so otherwise I can take the number of elements in the residue field, okay, but since to be consistent with our notation, might as well take p, mod p, okay. So this type of power series, this is called Frobenius power series. This kind of power series is called Frobenius power series. Okay. And then, so this theorem was proof you can find in Lang's book also, that given any f in F pi, there exists a formal group. There exists a formal group, maybe I'll call it FF, with F as endomorphism. Meaning, what it means that if I do FF, I should be careful, FF of x, y is same as FF, Fx, Fy. Okay, so given any Frobenius power series, we actually have a formal group with that as endomorphism. And endomorphism means this. Okay. And if I take another z in F pi, then these two formal groups will be isomorphic over OP. Okay. So if F and Z belong to F pi, then one can show that this formal group FF is isomorphic to FC. And this isomorphism is over OP, or let's say to be precise, let's take OPX. Okay? So this is roughly speaking, this is like what, this is the kind, this is the part of Lubin-Tate theory that we'll need. Okay? But let me give an example. Okay? So let me give an example. Okay, so maybe it's best to erase this. Okay, so let's see. For example, let's see that this is a Lubin-Tate formal group for Zp with prime p. Okay, with parameter p. Why? Because what is what will be p gmx? It means I am adding x p times. Okay, so if I do it 2 times, I'll get like, it is like 1 plus x whole square minus 1 if I do it twice. But if I do it p times, I'll get 1 plus x to the power p minus 1. And this is like a Frobenius power series because it starts with xp and then final term is px. And all the other coefficients are divisible by p. These are all coefficients are 0 mod p. Okay? So mod p, I have xp, and higher from second order onwards, I get px. So it's like a Frobenius power series. Okay? So this polynomial is like, it belongs to the Frobenius power series. And why this is an endomorphism of this, because one can check that PGM, okay, of fxy is actually f PGM y. Okay, because on this side, what will I get? I'll get 1 plus x, 1 plus y, minus 1. And then to apply the Frobenius, I'll have to take plus and then p and minus 1. And one can also get this here. Okay, so I'm leaving out the details, but see, this is like 1 plus x to the power p minus 1, and 1 plus y p to the power minus 1. And then when I apply the formal group law, one can check that this is trivially follows that this is not something very unusual. Okay, the Lubin-Ted formal groups are fairly common. Okay. Now, what is the group that Coates and Wiles want? They'll take what is the simplest Frobenius power series that you can think of? It's like x to the power p plus pi x. If I take x to the power p plus pi x, that's also a Frobenius power series. And accordingly, there will be a Lubin-Ted formal group, which I have denoted, I've not denoted maybe. Okay, so there will be corresponding Lubin-Ted formal group for that. And rather than the formal group of elliptic curve, I'll replace it by that formal group. Okay, where calculations will be easier, and we can detect powers of, p powers in U naught. That is the motivation. Okay, so let's see. So what is that formal group that I take? Okay, so now consider this power series. So consider fx to be xp plus pi x. Okay, so there exists a Lubin-Ted formal group with f as endomorphism. Okay, and this will be isomorphic to E hat. Okay, this will be isomorphic to E hat. And why this group is useful? Okay, or why? Okay, this isomorphism is over OP. Okay.
Why is coming from that P of P, the non-anomalous prime?
Yeah, it is coming from that prime. But for this argument, we don't need the non-anomalous or anything.
So then E hat.
E hat is actually a Lubin-Ted formal group. Okay.
Oh, epsilon.
So this is like this is the Lubin-Ted formal group that we'll work with. Yeah. Yeah, I've taken a split prime. So split prime means good ordinary.
And
Yes, P is generated by pi. But even if you replace pi by some pi times unit, these Lubin-Ted formal groups will not be isomorphic over OP. They'll be isomorphic over maximal ununified extension. So it's important that parameter is fixed. Okay, because if you change the parameter, Lubin-Ted groups will be isomorphic, but not over OP. It will be over you'll have to take the integers in the maximal ununified extension. But anyway, we don't need all that because we are keeping the same pi. This is isomorphism is over OP. This is the elliptic curve formal group. And this is a Lubin-Ted formal group. This is also a Lubin-Ted formal group. Because when we look at like how pi acts on this, okay, then you'll see that it'll, if I take the local parameter, so how it will act, it will start like pi t plus higher order terms, and modulo p, it will act like this. Okay, so that's why it's a Lubin-Ted formal group, and this is the one that we want to replace by. Okay. Okay, so sorry? The isomorphism follows from the theorem, yes. But it can be constructed like, and it is there in Lang's book also, how any two Lubin-Ted formal groups associated with the same parameter are isomorphic. Okay, so it follows from that. And in fact, there is also another map which is known as logarithm map. Okay, so and this is to the formal additive group. Okay, so it's like the log map normally we have from the general additive group. Okay, so let's see. So if I have the formal multiplicative group and formal additive group, okay, then if I have there's a map log 1 plus t. Okay, so this is like an isomorphism. Okay, because this is z, and how do I come back? It's like exponential z minus 1. Okay, so you can see that these formal groups, the formal group is always isomorphic to the additive group, but this isomorphism is defined over the field K. Okay, I mean this, you need to take the quotient field. Okay, so there will also be a logarithm map from here. What is the logarithm map does? Like if I add with respect to this, after logarithm map it will be like lambda x plus lambda y. Okay, so this is like the logarithm map. Okay, and the best why this this group is taken, because its logarithm map has a very nice property that it starts with x and the next term is like x to the power p and higher order terms. So I don't get any coefficients between 1 and p minus 1. I mean, sorry, 2 and p minus 1. Okay, that is very important for us. Okay, so why we take all this trouble to work with this formal group? We use this formal group is that its logarithm map is very simple. Because when we get the elliptic units, they will be interpolated by some power series in z, but that power series and this power series in terms of the parameter here, they have a nice, first p minus 1 coefficients are very nicely related because of this property. Okay, that some coefficients are trivial. Okay, this is the main point here. Okay, so let's see how we define. So, okay, we can erase this part.
U0 will be embedded inside.
Sorry?
U0 will be embedded.
Yes, U0 will be, okay, so now let's, what will be, U0 will be embedded. Okay, so before that, see, I have this isomorphic, so if I take the pi torsion here, and this pi torsion, this field that I get will be same as this. Okay, because there's an isomorphism over OP. Okay, so these are same. Okay, so my U0 is sitting inside this. Okay, or it's a ring of integers. Now, if I have alpha, how will I define this map? So our aim is to define this map, phi k from U0 to P. So how do I construct this? So take any unit, okay, and let's fix, let's take a generator, let's call it W0. Let's take generator W0 of, okay, let's take a generator. Because this group, one can show that this is actually isomorphic to OP mod P. Okay. Yeah.
As the elements of P are going to be like indeterminates coming from X and Y.
Yeah.
Then how is KP joined with phi?
Because
Are we looking at the OP bar points of?
yeah, these are like, because see, this is like OP power series of these points, and these are isomorphic, so they are same. Because this isomorphism is over OP, that's why this is the same extension. Okay, so now take the generator. Now what I'll do, this alpha, there will be some power series such that FW0 is alpha. Okay, so in other words, there exists FT in OP, okay, so actually in fact I can take the first term to be, okay, such that F of, okay. See, what is alpha? Alpha is a unit which is 1 mod P0. Okay, so one can find a power series in this such that F evaluated at this W0 is alpha. Okay, and this is very important that this power series exists. I mean, this is, and in fact, it need not be unique, but the way we define this map, what will be this? So if I have alpha, it goes to the coefficient of t to the power k in, we take the logarithmic derivative of ft. Okay, and below p. Okay. So how we define this map, it's like the coefficient of t to the power k in this power series. Okay? Okay, maybe I needed this later, but anyway. And one can show that this is actually independent of choice of. Because if I have another interpolating power series z, then I can take f by z, and that will be like 1. So then f by z minus 1 will be divisible by this t to the power p plus pi t. And then if I take logarithm derivative of its multiples, they will be like 0, modulo p. Okay? So it is independent, and it's a homomorphism. One can show because if I have product of 2 units, these power series will be like products, and when I take log, there will be sum. So it's like a homomorphism. And okay, so but I need to identify, and also suppose it is clear that if I have something which is a pth power, so if some unit is a pth power, suppose it is beta to the power p, then this ft will be some other power series to the power p, and when I take the log, this p will come out, so pth power will also be 0. So it's like pth powers. So alpha is beta p would imply that phi k alpha is 0. These things are coming from this map. Okay. So anyway, this is like Coates-Wiles homomorphism. So we have this now. Before going to elliptic units, why I need one final thing, that I need to understand the generators of U0. Okay. Because what are the generators of U0 k or U0 dash k? Because I'm interested in U0 dash k. Okay? Because I know that it is GP modulo of rank 1. Okay? It's GP modulo of rank 1. So we want to find a generator, and that generator will be in terms of this new formal group. Okay? So the way Coates-Wiles has defined these generators, it is of this form. W0 to the power k, and you take the idempotence. Okay. So what is Ek? I mean, it is like idempotent, like p minus 1 chi minus k sigma. Okay. So this is actually the generator of GP generator of this. Okay, so there are certain facts one can check, because why? I mean, this eta k will be actually 1 minus W0 k mod P0 k plus 1. Okay, how do I show that this is not a pth power? See, anything which is not a pth power will be a generator of GP module by Nakayama's lemma. Okay, it should not be a pth power, but had it been a pth power, then here you would not get this. Okay, so it will be like, so one can show that this is this, and certain things I'm not just, so phi k of alpha sigma is like chi k sigma phi k alpha. So because I don't want to prove all the details, but they can be easily proved. All these can be easily proved. And phi k eta j is 0 if j is not equal to k, and it is minus k if j is equal to k. Okay, because for example, if phi k eta k I am evaluating, basically I am taking the logarithmic derivative of 1 minus t to the power k, and 1 minus t to the power k, if I take log and then I take differentiate and multiply by, so when I differentiate, I'll get this minus k out of that. Okay, so that's how it comes. So I'm just not giving the details, but they can be found. Okay, so maybe I should not have erased this. Okay. So now, if I have any unit, Okay, so if I have any unit in, so alpha I can write in terms of this, eta 1 t1 up to eta p minus 1 tp minus 1 modulo the peak powers. Okay, because if I evaluate phi k and what will be this tk, it will be phi k alpha by k, maybe minus. Okay, so this can be easily computed, but what we need is that suppose phi k alpha is 0. Important thing is that if phi k alpha is 0, that will mean alpha belongs to u naught k to the power p. Okay, because of all this. Okay, so if I have 0, suppose phi k alpha is 0, then its component in the kth component will be 0. So that means in the kth component, it is actually pth power, because I'm doing it modulo pth power. So if I look at its kth component, then this will be trivial if phi k alpha is 0. Okay, so now what remains is I have this homomorphism. Now I have to evaluate, I have to define the elliptic units, and I have to evaluate this Kurzweil homomorphism on those elliptic units. Okay, so any questions so far? So what we have done, roughly speaking, is that to understand the units in this extension by p torsion points over the local field Kp, we use a different group, which is like a Lubin-Tate formal group, and which has nice properties. In particular, its logarithm map is nice. Okay, so we'll see how that helps. But it also helps us to give the generators. And we can easily find the generators of the local units, or the kth eigenspace of the local units. Okay. So now let's define. Now it's time to define the elliptic units, and see that their logarithmic derivatives indeed involve the L values. Okay. So final thing to do is like define these elliptic units. Okay. So they are like values of, what are these? Roughly speaking, they are values of rational functions on E at torsion points. Okay, so what are those rational functions? Okay, so let me introduce. I can think of them as points, or complex numbers modulo lattice, or I can think of as points on elliptic curves also. So I have this function. What is A? A is some ideal which is co-prime to 6, and this prime P, and bad primes, etc. Okay. So take any ideal, and this, and how I define this is you take this delta function of the lattice. It is like the discriminant, and A inverse L, and take a product of, I'll also write it in terms of what are L? They are like A inverse L, L. Okay, what is L? Because I know that, what is this L? Because I know that E over L is isomorphic to this elliptic curve. Okay, this is the L. And in fact, for elliptic curves with complex multiplication, this lattice can be written in a simpler form. Okay, where omega is this period. Okay, so I'll not go into all these details, and what is delta L? It's like the discriminant of the. Okay, so in terms of, I can write, so this pz, etc., to the power 6, I forgot. Okay, so this is a rational function. Okay, so this function I will evaluate at torsion points. Okay, this function is evaluated at torsion points. What are those torsion points? Or which torsion points I will evaluate this function? Okay, so. Okay, so these functions are to be evaluated let me write Fn for f, p, n plus 1. What is f? It was the conductor of the Grossen character. It is divisible precisely by primes of bad reduction, and p is that anomalous prime we are working with. Okay, so and this is actually like a principal ideal generated by some Fn, let's say. Okay, or I can also write it as f pi n plus 1. Sorry, what is? Oh, this is okay. This is I have defined. Consider. Actually, this involves, I mean, this is it is related to Weierstrass P function, etc. So it has some expansions in terms of Weierstrass P function. Okay, so I mean, so this is the definition of this function. This is some elliptic function. Okay, and so I evaluate, and let's take rho n to be. Sorry. Well, I don't know about that, but what I can say is that this is a rational function on E, and this gives me units at all primes apart from those dividing A. Okay, apart from primes dividing. Okay, so I first I will have to see that this, where does it belong? I mean, if I evaluate it, where does it belong? It will belong to this field of Fn torsion points. I mean this. Okay. So if I evaluate, so what will be elliptic units? I'll evaluate it at rho n. Okay. So this will actually belong to this field K E F P n plus 1. Okay. This when we evaluate this, because see, here we are taking all the possible torsions, non-zero torsion points, A torsion points. Okay, so when I do this, it is actually will be defined over the base field. Okay, so when I evaluate it at a point of Fpn plus 1 torsion, then this will give us a unit. Okay, so the question is whether this is a unit, whether this is a global unit. Okay, so what we are doing is we are using this function. We are evaluating it at torsion points, and we are claiming that this is giving us a global unit. Now it will be a global unit if it is unit at each local prime. I mean each prime. Okay, so I have to check that this is actually a prime. I mean this is actually a unit at all primes. So, for example, let's give a sample of the argument. What kind of argument that? Suppose. Let's take first the ideal which does not divide A and the discriminant. Let's see what happens. So if I take a prime which is not dividing these, what happens? These have positive valuation at Q. Okay, because this gives me a torsion point which is like Fpn plus 1 torsion, which is prime to Q. So whenever I have prime to Q torsion, that the valuation is non-negative. Okay, so these two valuations will be like non-negative, and their valuation will not be positive also, because if it is positive, then under reduction they give us like this point will be like plus or minus of this. So that kind of argument. Okay, so reduction modulo Q argument tells you that this valuation will be 0 at Q not dividing these. Okay, for Q dividing A, so for Q dividing A, there is some contribution from here, but there will be also Q torsion points there, and so to speak that this evaluation and that evaluation cancels. Okay, so for Q dividing A, you treat it slightly differently. You cannot claim that this is now has 0 valuation. It will have some valuation at those Q torsion points, but their contribution will be negated by this one, because this is like a to the power 12 when I take it up. It's like a to the power 12. And here I have 6, and like x coordinate, it will contribute like -2. That kind of argument will show you that this valuation, this contribution is not there for Q dividing A. So only prime that remain is Q dividing delta L. For that, we will take different A's and I'll take suitable powers, so that eventually, like this contribution from delta L is also negated. And this is actually a unit at all primes. So Okay, so yeah, so I've already exhausted, but let me just quickly say that what we'll do next, we'll take product of such for a suitable choice of Nj and Aj such that this condition is there. Okay, why? Because then when I take the product, delta L to the power summation Nj, Naj minus 1 will come, and that will remove these primes. Okay, so this delta L factor will be removed when we choose, when I change these prime ideals and take this appropriate this thing. Okay, so with this, if I take this, so this will give us the elliptic unit. Okay, this will give us an elliptic unit, but not in the field that I want. I am getting this in a bigger field, then I'll have to take norm. Okay, then I have to take norm down. Okay, so when I take norm down, I'll get the elliptic units. Okay, that's how we get the elliptic units. And how do I calculate this phi k? How do I calculate the phi k of some elliptic unit? Okay, for that, what I need is, I need this power series, which gives me that elliptic unit. Okay, and this power series actually can be expressed in terms of this lambda z, aj, nz. Okay, so finally I'm just giving the sketch so that to evaluate the elliptic unit, this Kurzweil's homomorphism at the elliptic unit, I need an interpolating power series which interpolates at the 0th level. Okay, and that comes from this power series because, okay, this is like roughly speaking, this is, I mean, I have to take norm also. Okay, what is this? I mean, this, you take norm and then you take product over all z. Okay, now this can be expressed in terms of this L function because this involves like pz and p dash z, etc. And they can be expressed in terms of the L function. And calculating the logarithmic derivative in terms of this parameter is enough because our Lubin-Tate formal group was nice enough that these coefficients up to p do not matter. I mean, because it comes from the fact that this is like AP, WP. Okay, so once I get the power series in terms of Z, okay, it is almost like the coefficients in terms of W also, where W is the coming from that Lubin-Tate formal group. Okay, so that's how, and one can show, I mean, we can do this computation and show that this actually gives you the L values. Okay, so maybe to summarize how we construct the elliptic units, you evaluate this rational function at torsion points, and we can show that this is actually a unit. We can give an argument, prime by prime argument. Okay, and the primes that we cannot deal with, we deal with by taking a suitable product so that these primes dividing the discriminant do not contribute. So it becomes a unit, but those units are sitting above the extension. This is the extension where we need the unit, so I have to take norm down. Okay, and then finally, to evaluate the Kurzweil's homomorphism, I need to take an interpolating power series, but interpolating in terms of Z is enough because this formal additive group and this Lubin-Tate formal group, they are nicely related up to, like say, P minus first coefficients, they are nicely, their behavior is like nice relation between this behavior. Okay, and to extend the theory, what one can do actually, like to get the whole p-adic L function, because these units are norm compatible, and in fact, one can get a power series that will be unique. Now, what we are taking is, like we are interpolating at the 0th level. We are taking a power series f such that f of W naught is U naught. But if I take a norm compatible sequence of elliptic units, then I'll get a unique Coleman power series such that at each level, if I take the, it will interpolate at any level. And if I take the logarithmic derivatives, that will give me like L values. Okay, so. And so I'll stop here. So I think I had to go a bit fast because too much material is there actually. But if you, all this basic material can be found in Lang's book on Lubin-Tate formal groups, and in Silverman's book, you can find this formal group associated with elliptic curves. Okay. Any question? So actually, I think, because initially I thought of discussing Rubin's proof for this conference. Okay, because that has one additional aspect that it also takes care of the Safarev state group. But then when I was going through it, then I again went back to Coates and Wells. I think it is very nicely written, and I think that is the best reference actually. I think it will be difficult to improve upon that actually. It's really nicely written, although there are some additional material which is not really needed, where they talk about reciprocity laws, etc., which is actually not integral to this proof, so that can be omitted, but everything else is done very nicely. And Lang's book also talks about this Coates-Wells homomorphism, etc. So I think Lang's book on cyclotomic fields, together with Coates-Wells' original paper, I think that's the best. Okay, but if you read Rubin's paper like his lecture notes, okay, then he can get a bit more out of that, because he shows that Selmer group vanishes for almost all primes, which actually tells you that Safarev state group is also 0 for most primes, and the other primes also he can control. He also uses, Euler system. Okay, so because the elliptic units actually give an Euler system, because they behave very nicely in towers of number fields. Okay. Coleman power series, because at the zeroth level itself, because see, Coates and Wells actually you can say, you just do the minimum. What is needed, it is done. Okay, but it can be extended later when they had this paper, periodic L function and elliptic units. They went to like this infinite level and showed that at every level there is like an interpolating power series, and from that power series one can actually construct a measure, and then these gamma transforms give the. And this is same thing for cyclotomic theory also. Like if I take cyclotomic units, you take non-compatible cyclotomic units, and you take the Coleman power series, and you take the log and take the constructor measure, then that will give you like periodic L functions, etc. So, but this is nice thing is that everything is like self-contained almost. I think in Coates-Wells paper is almost self-contained. Apart from some results on the Grossen character, but you can just assume those. Okay, you can assume that Grossen, forget about ideals. Just take it for granted that Grossen character is defined on fractional ideals. Okay, then everything is fine.